My passion for the Italian culture has been something that has been within me for I'd have to say forever. Something that I can't exactly pinpoint the time when I figured out my passion for this culture, for this language, for everything Italian.
I moved here about 11 years ago now when I was 12 years old with my family. I do identify as Italian, that's for sure, even if I am now approaching quite quickly halfway point of my life, having spent here in Australia. Even though I will probably still be in Australia way past these 11 years, I will still be Italian and identify as Italian.
My cultural background is I'm Italian, second generation. We speak a dialect of Italian at home. To consider myself Australian or Italian is funny because, for example, my mum came to this country when she was 5 years old. She considers herself Australian. I, born and raised in the country, speaking English as my mother tongue language, taking on Italian as a second language, consider myself Italian.
If I had grown up here, I have no idea what I would be like 100%. I would be a completely different person. Not only the language and cultural aspects, just the subtleties, what you speak about, your wants, your ambitions. It's something that would definitely have changed me 100%.
I think it comes down to identification, and I think identification is a very personal thing in the way that I identify myself as Italian. I'm sure there's plenty of Italians that would identify me as far from Italian. I'm sure there are plenty of things that I don't do, that I don't say, that I don't eat, that I don't wear, that would classify me as Italian.
Some things are a bit annoying. Stereotypes like from movies and stuff, I notice even from commercials. I don't like the image that Italians are given. They label us as crazy people, crazy country, which is probably true, but not because of that.
In my opinion, stereotypes tends to bear a negative connotation. Because I see identification as quite a personal thing, I think stereotypes can also be quite a personal thing as well. And I think it's up to us as human beings to be able to identify what stereotypes are, and even if we do, to look beyond them to some extent. The things that I do, I believe I do them in a very Italian way. I think if you kind of do it in a bit of a, I guess you could say, malicious way, then I don't know how much you're helping the situation of cultural preservation, because then to a certain extent you're kind of losing the idea of why you're even doing those things.
I'm not super patriotic, but I do think it's important to keep my roots alive. Me personally, anyway, I don't go out of my way to show it, I guess, to anybody.
Cultural preservation in this instance is more about, yes, taking these things, learning them, teaching them just as much as you learn them, passing them on to the next generation.
The generations that were born here have a perception of Italy from their grandparents, which is 50, 60 years old. So it's a bit antiquated, so they don't really know what it's like to be Italian, which is, it's fine, whatever, but it's not true, I guess, if you will.
I've gotten to a certain point with my Italian language where I feel it's basically surpassed the point of passion. I see it as my life.
If you look at Italian second generation, third generations, they're kids, they don't speak Italian, they don't have anything to do with Italian. They don't know basically anything. Well, I think it's because we're such a part of the country's development that we are just lost a lot of that language skills and culture. There are certainly some people that are advocates for Italy and being Italian here, and that definitely have to think twice about, if I do this a certain way, then I'm Italian. If I don't, whatever. My experience is you don't think twice, you just live life normally because that's just the way you're brought up.
Initially, I looked at it as quite a huge issue, and I thought, my God, we've got so many kids that don't know how to speak their language, they don't know anything about their culture. Then eventually I began to, in Italian we say, ho messo l'anima in pace, like I was fine with the idea of this whole cross-cultural, of the globalization, I guess you could say, because it's a demonstration that times are changing and things are changing, and as much as I would love to preserve what we had in the past, I know that it's inevitable that it is going to change. Therefore, rather than seeing it as a bad thing, I've learned to accept it.